Hi guys, this is Sean with SuperDroid Robots, and we are bringing you another robot video. Today we're going to be talking about track splices. Alright, first I want to go over some of the material you might need to do this on your own. First and foremost, safety glasses. Always a good precaution. Next, we'll also be using a standard hammer, straight edge, measuring tape, and you will get your track that you bought from us cut to your length. And you also need to take into account that the splice takes up 3/8 of an inch. So you want to do your measuring and make sure everything's right before you start hooking on the splice. Next, we're also going to need a razor blade, and that's it pretty much. So let's get started. Alright, the first step in the track splice is going to be to cut off the tread where the actual splice is going to go. So here we'll just take our standard razor blade and just kind of cut off the tread. And the splice is going to sit about that far off, so that's how much we'll need to cut off. Alright, and for the sake of time, I've already done the other side. So now, we're going to apply the first splice. Okay, so here I have a 5/32 drill bit, and this is about the spacing that you're going to want. You can use a screw or any object that you find about that size, a pin for instance, or anything, but that's about the spacing you want. I'll let the camera see that. Alright, next you're going to take your hammer and just kind of tap it. And to do this, we're just trying to get the points of the splice into the tread so it will hold into place. And we want it lined up where the edge of the splice is close to one end and a little gap on the other end for when we hook them together. So, tapping. And you want to make sure you're tapping these straight in so they don't go into the track at an angle. I also got a little piece of aluminum here to tap onto. Flip it over, and this part you want to hit it a little bit harder. And while you're doing this, be sure to hit the part of the splice that is actually on the track itself, because you do not want to close up these ends to where you can't get your pin in. Okay, next we're going to apply the other side of the splice. And you want to make sure these line up good, because you definitely don't want your track out of an alignment. So what we're doing now is we're just lining up the track and the splices so we make sure that it's perfectly straight. And we're going to want to keep this position for this side. So now I'm taking my 5/32 drill bit again to get the spacing right. And we just want to lightly tap to hold this in place so we know that it's at the right alignment. So now, after I've lightly tapped, I'm going to double check to make sure that the track is still in alignment, and I see that it is, so we're good to go. And I'm going to lightly tap the other side. Again, this is just to hold the track into place. Flip it over, lightly tap it in. And now comes the part where we're really just going to hammer it in. And we want to make sure that we take our time on this part and go completely straight. So the alignment stays straight and doesn't go in at an angle. Now we're going to hammer it in, and we want to make sure that we just apply a lot of pressure and go in completely straight. So I went in at a little angle there, and what you can do is just kind of take some pliers, just straighten it back out. And you may have to try this a couple times. Now this is how the final splices should look, and that hammering part can take a long time, depending on how well you do it. But so we just want to make sure that they do in fact fit in together and they're lined up good. And the final part is just putting the pin in. So I'll start off sliding the pin, and depending on how tight you got it or how close to this 5/32 drill bit spacing, you may have to take the hammer and just lightly tap the pin. And there it goes. And that is a splice.